Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map. I have an unboxing to do. I actually got a deck from second-hand deck, so it was quite cheap. I think I didn't pay more than $15 for it, but it's an out-of-print deck and it's called Adrian Tarot. So it's from Adrian Müller, and it's a deck. It's a modern version of the traditional divinatory deck of playing cards. The cards themselves have been very appealingly designed by Adrian Curley, and to go with them, Mickey Crafting has written a soundly based guide to the interpretation. I think that book is in German. The expressive contemporary imagery facilitates access to the deepest of our subconscious being. So let me just count them. I stop it for 1 second. Okay, all the cards are there. So this is interesting, and this is something which I wanted to share with you, that the 22 greater trumps of the Adrian Tarot can be laid out like pieces in a puzzle in the form of 2 Kabbalistic trees of life. Underlying those figures there is a shadow image of a man in the case of the Tree of Life, of a woman in that of the Tree of Knowledge. These two are the lovers depicted in the card 6 of the Greater Trumps. So we get there, and I will stop the camera and maybe try to organize that and see if I can get the image. Otherwise we just have here laying the cards, consulting, blah blah, Celtic cross, some other spreads that can be used, and then descriptions of the cards. Quite basic, I think. Yeah. So then it goes to the end. The minor arcana, they have little, like tough system. They have a keyword attached to them, and that's it. So it's all in English, the little booklet, and it said it was a comprehensive kind of shorter version of that comprehensive guidebook. So let's just see these cards. They're a bit strange. I don't know if they're my favorite images of all. So these are the backs, and they have the names in German and in English, and they all have that strange kind of lines on the image, and I do want to decipher if that lines have any meaning, because I'm not sure really. So let's just see. So this would be the Queen of Swords. I love that there's a Luna moth. So it's a very this strange photographic style to it. So if this is the King, I don't know, can you distinguish any of the shapes of those lines? The Queen looks a little bit like a vampire with that. And maybe scissors, like chop, chop, chop. But the King is much more inclusive, so I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, they actually are in order. So this is the Ritter and the Schwerter, so the Knight of Swords. And there's all these birds, so we know that this is going to be fast. This is going to be quick and quite, feisty maybe. Page of Swords with the Luna moth. So that's interesting take. I'm just curious how they describe, for example, in the Page of Swords. Let's just see swords. Page of Swords. We'll just see if there is anything interesting added from the booklet. So it's encircled by a spiral of green-tinted butterflies. The young man emerges from pale pink and turquoise mist. The butterflies symbolize ease, adaptability, and mental flexibility, and can also stand for imagination, the restless and capricious mind, and for the silly ideas in the head of the page. He bears the sword behind his neck. He wants to see the world and confront challenges on the intellectual level, to discover and develop one's mental abilities and see in this an opportunity, unconventional ideas in relationship to new tasks, to emulate spiritual ideals, arguments, curiosity, wit, and mental agility. So it's quite nice that they somehow describe the image in regards to the picture that is presented. I like that, because sometimes, you know, there's a total lack of connection. So then we have Ten of Swords. It's a pip deck, but here you get the German and the English name, so it's Decline. I don't know if it's based on Thoth or not. I have to check, because I don't know the keywords for Thoth so well yet. Then the Nine of Swords, it's Despair. I think that is Thoth based. So the colors are quite lovely, but if you don't like pip decks, you know, you won't be able to read with that. And then we have 8, it's Captivity. So again, those lines, I have to work with this deck more to distinguish if there's any sense, or if they make any sense to me. This is Deceit with 7. And 6 is Radical Change. That, I don't think it's a tough name. Defeat, 5 of Swords. So interesting that some go up, some go down. Defeat for some reason is up, and it's 4 of Swords go down, Still Stand. And then there's Grief. Oh, that looks like a little pierced heart, doesn't it? And a little person, and maybe a tear. So, you know, maybe there is some, like, for example, for the Still Stand, there's a square and an oval and moon. Interesting. And then 2 of Swords is Doubt. So not sure. And then there's Ace, Clarity of Air. And then we have the King of Cups with all the fish. That reminds me of those airport kind of walls, when you can stand there and like you appear in the middle of the like a fish tank or something. It's this king, but you know, he sees you and he listens, right? Queen. Oh, she reminds me a little bit of Frida for some reason, but there's this beautiful lotus and the roses on her head, so she's lovely. I like her. He is weird. Knight of Cups. But I like the seahorses. So you have some animals and some plants to like play with. And that's the Page of Cups with a dolphin. Look at their faces. They're so funny. Especially this one. He looks like the guy from Star Trek or something. Okay, and then we go through cups. So it's 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups, 8. So I think the colors are similar as with the other. 7 of Cups, Illusion. 6. It's a different positioning than in Marseille decks, some of them at least. 5. And some of them have this little kind of images behind. Joy for 3 of Cups. Love. And the Ace of Cups. And then we have this discs. So this is King with all the grapes. He looks quite young though. And then we have the Queen. She's got this fertility thing going on, right? And the little bird. So see, she's caring, nurturing. Knight, very solid. And then the Page. quite earthy. It looks like a phone. And then again we go through 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, crisis, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And here we have the wands. So it's King of Wands, Queen with that huge black cat, Knight, oh my god, Page. Check his outfit out. Oh my god, that's funny. Looks like a yeah, 80s athlete. And then we have again 10 wands, 9, 8, 7. So you do get the keyword, but other than that you are left with numerology, those lines, colors, and your own imagination, how to connect the pip. So you know me, I love reading pips, so that's a great challenge for me because it's a little bit different than Marseille, so I can stretch my imagination. And here we have the majors. So this is the major arcana. We start with the world because we go backwards. So that's the world. So we have the Hindu Hebrew letter. Here we have kind of like 4 elements, but they're not really elements, are they? They're just like 4 squares, but we know what that can mean. And then there's judgment. The light bulb, I kind of like it. So what's here? It's like, is it an angel or somebody who's holding, like, yeah, an angel's got the wings here and holds like a piece of paper or something, and the light bulb going on. So that's quite cool. The sun, it's quite freaky with those 2 little Japanese girls, and maybe some like a little bit Egyptian or even South American in the face on the sun. The moon, very Egyptian, and like kind of connected to Pisces, maybe one fish swimming one way, the other way. That's the star. And this is the tower. It's interesting, much more responsibility on you. So not something coming from you and like destroying your stuff, but you kind of wanting to destroy it yourself. Devil. It's like holds that huge snake, or it's like a tail. This is temperance. This is death. So there's the skull and yeah, like this figure with the scythe. Hangman. So what's this? I'm not sure. They look like mandalas or like pieces of clocks, or like a kaleidoscope kind of thing. Maybe looking at the same stuff, different perspectives, different variations. Strength. The Wheel of Fortune. Hermit. Justice. Blind. I love her posture, how she's like, what should I do? How should I judge that? And then the Chariot. He's kind of like going for it. The Lovers. Hierophant. The keys hanging. It's quite funny. And then we have the Emperor. I like that card when I saw it online. I love that eagle over him, hovering over. Quite powerful. The Empress with the egg. It's quite cool too. And the High Priestess. Just like, I don't know, trying to take her clothes off. And the Magician. So all the elements. And then the Fool. It's like spiraling out. So that's quite cool. It's a very kind of strange deck. You could see that somebody used more the major arcana and the minors weren't very used. But let's see if I can create that Tree of Life. So let me switch off the camera now and I play with it and I show it to you. Okay, I'm not sure I've done it totally right, but you can see here is in the shadow there's a guy's kind of figure coming out, and here for example his feet. And with the female it's a little bit more tricky because you do it from the but here's a face of a woman and her breasts, and then it goes down. So this is a Tree of Life and Tree of Knowledge. So I kind of lost her somewhere here. There's like vague shadow, but you can definitely see the top part quite well. So that's how the majors kind of are laid out, and that's it. It's just a fun part of it. So this is Adrian Tarot, as I said. As you can see, it's kind of quite an interesting deck, a little bit weird. If I want to play with it a little bit, just let's shuffle it, shall we? And see how it shuffles. I think it will shuffle well. The cardstock is cool because there is no borders and the cards are black. You could see that, you know, from use. I will have to add, I think, like a black edged in black. So the cards are quite long actually, but they stretch quite nicely, and it's better to shuffle it overhand. I'm just going to put 3 cards together. Let's see how it goes and if we can squeeze some fun out of it. So 6 of Cups, 9 of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. So that's how it looks when you put it out. I think it looks quite cool actually. I enjoy the coloring of it. So we have the keywords are nostalgia, defiance, and then the Queen of Cups. So what would we want to say about these 3 cards? So maybe that Queen of Cups is feeling a little bit nostalgic. Maybe as a 6 of Cups, you know, you have that sense of going for the past. The cups are kind of, you know, the 2 cups are split by the 4. So there was maybe some bridge between past and the future. And there is something which maybe she needs to discover a little bit more, but maybe without that very nostalgic feeling, because if she starts looking into the past just for the sake of, oh, I wish it was like in the past, it will be quite hard for her, and she might feel like she's losing strength and losing power, and whatever needs to be growing in the presence. And it's been, you know, it might be just hard to feel it because she's constantly going backwards to that past positioning. The Lotus kind of encourages her to connect to that spiritual outlook, so maybe take a little step back, see beyond that, maybe her feelings are quite fiery, you know, because even though it's defiance, I always see Nine of Wands, that there's a lot of wands. So to see something clearly past that forest of wands must be quite difficult. So maybe she's not really seeing clearly, she's not having a clear access to her emotions. That's why that spiritual attitude and that really going inwards and connecting to that lotus flower, you know, that grows from the mat and then grows above, and it's always such a great symbol of spiritual understanding, would be better than really focusing only on that nostalgia and feeling tired. And because that always steals your energy when you're only focusing on the past without really having a true connection to the present. And that's where you might feel defiant or tired of constantly going back and constantly wanting something different from what you have. And she just seems so kind of lost in her thoughts, you know, in her emotions. So I think I like this deck. It's quite a different, weird take. My two favorites, please. Oh yeah, give them some fire, please, because they both kind of seahorsey and dolphiny. I love them. Oh my god, cannot take those two serious, I'm sorry. So anyway, that's it. So that's the deck that I wanted to share with you. And there you go. Another deck to practice pips with, and I hope you enjoy it. Adrian Tarot. Thanks for watching and speak to you soon. Bye.